Thunder didn't just roar that night, it broke something. The sky cracked, the earth trembled, and in the darkness between lightning, something ancient began to awaken. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Popping sounds echoed from the tattoo as thunder rolled across it. Each time two bolts collided, the tattoo quivered. With every tremor, cracks spread through it, and layer after layer of seals collapsed. Wang Lin's gaze turned icy. He raised his right hand, and the withered owl pair suddenly appeared. The moment the beast bone emerged, a flash of light burst forth, and a sinister aura spread through the surroundings. The collapsing tattoo shuddered violently. A grey light emerged, beginning to petrify it. At that very instant, Tarshan stepped forward and threw a punch. A deafening bang resounded through the 16th layer. The tattoo shattered completely. As thunder swept past, a chain of popping sounds followed, and the tattoo broke apart into countless specks of black light before dispersing into nothingness. At the moment of its disappearance, a transfer array appeared within the pool, emitting a strange and eerie glow. Far away on planet Suzaku within a sect, there was a man resembling Huanglong. He stood smiling as he spoke with several low-level cultivators. Suddenly his expression shifted and he looked into the distance. This coincided exactly with the opening of the passage to the 17th layer. After a long while he withdrew his gaze and pondered, "Forget it. There is nothing on the 17th layer he cannot see. That little fellow's cultivation has reached a level where he can uncover certain secrets. However, the 17th layer is his limit. He will not step into the 18th. Within the Immortal Graveyard's 16th layer, Tarshan stepped into the transfer array and vanished. Wang Lin waited briefly, ensuring no danger lingered before stepping in as well. The big-headed boy, Lei Ji, and Yun Kuezi followed closely behind. The 17th layer of the Forsaken Graveyard was shrouded in complete darkness. No light existed here. A dense, overwhelming death aura filled every inch of space. At that moment, a flicker of light from a transfer formation appeared at the center. With that faint illumination, the surroundings gradually became visible. This was a vast area spanning thousands of feet. Chains hung everywhere, swaying silently. From those chains dangled corpses. What radiated from the chains was celestial spiritual energy. These corpses were all celestials, yet the celestial energy carried no vitality. It was steeped in death as though these bodies had hung here for countless ages. In an instant, the light from the formation faded and several figures appeared. Tarshan was the first to arrive. As he entered, his eyes brightened, scanning the surroundings. Even with his usual indifference, his pupils contracted slightly. Though the place was pitch black, it did not hinder divine sense. When Wang Lin appeared, his divine sense spread outward. His expression quickly darkened. The big-headed boy was no different. Upon seeing everything, his face turned pale. Having entered the celestial pool and lost his domain to truly become a celestial, the shock he experienced far surpassed that of the others. What horrified him even more was that his powerful celestial origin trembled violently, as though suppressed by an unseen force. Under this suppression, faint, mournful cries seemed to echo in his ears. His face grew even paler. His body trembled, and he coughed up a mouthful of blood. Fortunately, Wang Lin reacted immediately. He placed his right hand on the boy's back and infused a large amount of origin energy into him. Only then did the big-headed boy regain clarity. He looked around again, this time filled with deep awe. Yun Kuezi's reaction was entirely different. He clearly sensed the aura of his ancestors here. The tattoos on his body began to move of their own accord. They rapidly shrank and started to degrade. The tattoos flowed like water, as if an invisible force was compressing them, forcing them toward his chest. What startled Yun Kuezi was that the respect he once felt toward the big-headed boy had quietly faded. It was as though something was suppressing that very feeling. Wang Lin too was affected. Upon entering, he immediately noticed that the celestial origin energy given to him by Qing Shui had been suppressed. It was as if submerged in water, its movement slowed significantly. The surroundings remained silent and dark. Yet for Wang Lin and the others, everything was clearly visible. The 17th layer was not particularly vast. Countless chains extended from the surrounding walls, binding the corpses in place. These corpses resembled dried mummies. Chains pierced through their pelvises. Some even had chains driven through their shoulder blades. They were densely packed, at least 100 in number. Each corpse bore marks of whipping. It was evident they had endured unimaginable torment before meeting a miserable end. Faint tattoos flickered across their bodies. Each time the tattoos glowed, the celestial spiritual energy leaking from them intensified. The reason this energy leaked was that their origin souls were sealed within their bodies by a powerful spell. Their bodies had long since died. Endless death aura eroded their origin souls. Yet those souls retained consciousness and could not escape. They could only helplessly witness their bodies wither away, feel the death aura invade them, until they were ultimately extinguished. This torment bred an overwhelming hatred toward Celestials, a hatred so absolute that it deeply shocked Wang Lin. Yunqizi stared blankly, unable to speak for a long time. These are Celestials. When they lived, their cultivation was all higher than mine. The big-headed boy felt an intense connection to this place, and an indescribable unease filled him. At that moment, the sound of chains clashing echoed. One of the mummies stirred. A tattoo flashed and sank into its body, merging with it. Then suddenly the mummy opened its eyes. There was no light in them. Only hollow sockets remained. Yet from those empty eyes burst forth unimaginable hatred and killing intent. Celestial, die. A roar shook the surroundings. The chain binding the corpse turned transparent and vanished in an instant. Freed, the mummy lunged forward. A strange celestial energy gathered into a storm as it charged directly at the big-headed boy. The boy's face turned pale. He instinctively stepped back several times. A vicious glint appeared in his eyes as he formed a seal, activating his celestial origin. He prepared to unleash a celestial spell, but at that very moment, something unexpected occurred. The instant his celestial origin activated, it began to scatter and dissipate. The rate was far beyond anything he had anticipated. Before he could even complete his spell, a large portion of his celestial origin had already vanished. Panic nearly overwhelmed him. As the mummy closed in, Wang Lin's eyes turned cold. He stepped forward, pressing a finger into the void. Origin energy surged through him. A thunderous bang erupted, and the mummy was blasted back dozens of feet. Toshen moved like lightning. His right hand clenched into a fist. A tattoo appeared upon it. The moment the mummy saw that tattoo, it immediately showed signs of submission and retreated, not daring to clash with him. Yunqizi stared at the scene as if struck by lightning. A long-forgotten rumor resurfaced in his mind. This is the torture chamber of my forsaken Immortal clan. Legend says that when the oldest ancestor arrived on planet Suzaku, he opened a layer outside the final two and named it the torture chamber. Any outsider entering would be killed instantly. I never thought this was real. As his voice echoed, the chains began to rattle once more. Suddenly, every corpse bound by chains opened its eyes. Ferocious expressions filled their faces. With thunderous roars, the chains restraining them vanished, granting them freedom. Like savage beasts, they charged toward Wang Lin, the big-headed boy, and Lei Ji. Wang Lin's eyes grew colder. He let out a snort, formed a seal, and shouted, "Call the wind." At his command, black wind gathered around his right hand and surged outward, filling the entire 17th layer. A terrifying gale swept forward with overwhelming force. Within the roaring wind, two black dragons formed. They howled as they unleashed endless cold wind, spreading outward with Wang Lin at the center. The corpses halted and retreated. Though powerful in life, they were now controlled by a mysterious force, rendering them far weaker than before. Yet their numbers were vast. They could not be underestimated. As the black wind raged, tattoos flickered across the corpses. A seal took shape, though invisible, its pressure descended instantly. Wang Lin recognized it immediately. He had encountered such a seal during his battle with the Yao family. His expression changed. Without hesitation, he stepped forward. Ripples spread beneath his feet, and he vanished without a trace. The black wind howled. The two black dragons swept across from both sides, binding countless corpses as though restraining them. Several corpses collapsed outright. Wang Lin reappeared beside one of them. His gaze was ruthless. His finger filled with thunder intent pressed down. Countless bolts of lightning emerged from the void, converging upon his fingertip. His finger struck the corpse's skull. The corpse trembled violently. In its empty eyes, a fleeting trace of clarity appeared. A hint of relief surfaced before its body collapsed and vanished. At the moment of its disappearance, a stream of celestial origin energy left the corpse and entered Wang Lin's body. His eyes narrowed. After careful observation, he confirmed that it caused no harm. Instead, it fused seamlessly with the celestial origin energy bestowed upon him by Celestial Lord Qing Shui. This realization filled Wang Lin with silent exhilaration. Wang Lin could not find any method to increase the celestial origin energy within his body. Each time he used it, it was consumed. Given enough time, it would be completely exhausted, and his celestial core would collapse. Moreover, its most crucial use lay in studying Summon the Rain and Magic Arsenal. Summon the Rain was manageable, but Magic Arsenal was utterly impossible to comprehend or utilize without celestial origin energy. Because of this, Wang Lin had never cultivated either of these two celestial spells. At this moment, his eyes suddenly lit up, his figure flickered. Black wind surged outward, enveloping the surroundings as he shouted, "Tashan Senior Yun Kwezi, guard the center. I will handle the outer area." With a single step, Wang Lin merged into the void. When he reappeared, he stood beside another mummy. His right hand formed a sword seal, and thunder intent gleamed within his eyes. The mummy turned abruptly, exhaling a stream of death aura. A strange tattoo flew toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin frowned slightly. He retreated, merging with the world itself to evade the attack. In the next instant, he appeared beside another mummy, his fingers slashing downward. The moment the mummy turned, Wang Lin's attack landed. It exploded. A vast surge of celestial origin energy burst forth and flowed directly into Wang Lin's body. After destroying one, a large group of mummies rushed toward him. Wang Lin's gaze flickered with an unusual light as he stared at them. He could clearly sense the powerful celestial origin energy within these corpses. Though they had been formidable in life, their movements were sluggish in death. With his early-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivation, eliminating them was not difficult. Yet at this moment, Wang Lin was not merely thinking of killing them. He was calculating how to extract the greatest possible benefit. Harvesting their celestial origin energy was only one goal. Within his mind, a far more daring idea was taking shape. His heart pounded as he retreated, dodging the mummy's attacks. That nearly insane thought rapidly formed, becoming clearer with each passing breath. A moment later, determination appeared in his eyes. A strange brilliance flickered within them. He had inherited Summon the Rain and Magic Arsenal from Qing Shui. Deep within, he favored Magic Arsenal. Although his understanding was shallow, fragments of insight had already taken root. The essence of Magic Arsenal was simple in concept. Imprison the soul fragments of those one had slain. Prevent them from entering the cycle of reincarnation and wield them as one's own power. Yet the method itself was anything but simple. One had to extract the souls of the dead and confine them within a false reincarnation cycle, formed from one's own celestial origin. Only then could they be truly imprisoned. More importantly, one needed a unique, mysterious space forged by the celestial spell itself. This space had originally been created by Celestial Emperor Bai Fan. When he used it, it manifested as a realm, the mysterious soldier realm. Within it, soul fragments were stored and refined like metal within a furnace, forming the foundation of Magic Arsenal's power. However, that realm belonged to Bai Fan alone. For others, the path differed. Qing Shui, with his unparalleled talent, chose not to replicate it. Instead, he forged his own way, creating the Slaughter Realm. He required no storage space. His overwhelming killing intent alone restrained all souls, forming a domain of absolute control. None of those he slew could escape. In his arrogance, Qing Shui named this creation Celestial Spell Confinement. After inheriting magic arsenal, Wang Lin rejected both the mysterious soldier realm and confinement. His path was different. He would use his own Tao of life and death to construct a reincarnation cycle of his own. And now these mummies stirred that idea into motion. They were not devoid of souls. Their souls were trapped within their origin souls fused with their bodies after countless years of imprisonment. If he could draw them all into his personal reincarnation cycle, he would gain an immense reservoir of soul fragments. When the time came to wield magic arsenal, its power would be unimaginable. Wang Lin's eyes blazed. He stepped forward and pointed toward the sky. Reincarnation Underworld River. In an instant, a mysterious force descended upon the world. The Underworld River appeared above him, its resentment vast and boundless. It coiled around Wang Lin, moving as he moved. He stepped forward again. His arms spread wide. Thunder intent filled his eyes, and a vortex appeared between his brows. His ancient thunder dragon origin soul burst forth, releasing a deafening roar. Roar! It was the roar of thunder itself. Even within the 17th layer of the Immortal graveyard, this sound triggered an unimaginable change across planet Suzaku. Thunderclouds gathered violently in the sky. Lightning churned within them as they descended, all converging toward the Immortal graveyard. The thunder was endless. It gathered, pouring into the massive pit of the forsaken Immortal clan like a raging flood. The pit became a funnel swallowing boundless lightning. Beyond the planet, even the surrounding void was affected. Thunder dragons formed in space, surging toward Suzaku. Within tens of thousands of kilometers, all lightning converged toward a single point. From afar, it appeared as though a vast region of space had transformed into a domain of thunder. The endless rumbling echoed across the stars. All thunder condensed, rushing into the pit. It was as if every bolt of lightning was on a pilgrimage, drawn to worship the ancestor of all thunder. There was no hesitation. At that moment, all sound on planet Suzaku vanished. Only thunder remained. The sky roared. It resembled the end of the world. Cultivators across the planet trembled. Fear rose from the depths of their souls. They were like ants beneath the wrath of the heavens. Mortals fell to their knees. Far from Suzaku, a group of 100 cultivators traveled through space, led by the six-fingered cultivator. Suddenly, his expression changed drastically. He stared ahead, his scalp going numb. He could sense it. The thunder ahead was impossibly dense. In his mind, a memory surfaced the moment Shu Mu had summoned a line of thunder, reaching the heavens, killing the big-headed boy in an instant. Could Shu Mu be ahead? Forget it. We change direction. He forced a bitter smile and turned away. It is best not to encounter that person. Meanwhile, the thunder surged into the pit layer by layer, descending from the 1st to the 17th, where Wang Lin stood. In an instant, the 17th layer was filled with thunder. It reached an unimaginable density. The roars were endless. Every mummy was engulfed by countless bolts of lightning. Each strike shook the entire layer. With a thunderous crash, one mummy collapsed. Its celestial origin energy surged toward Wang Lin. The underworld river swept past, extracting its soul like a spirit returning to the afterlife. This scene repeated again and again. As the thunder intensified beyond all limits, it suddenly collapsed inward and exploded. The explosion formed a terrifying thunderstorm. As it swept across the land, all mummies shattered. Vast amounts of celestial origin energy flooded into Wang Lin's body. His celestial core expanded wildly. In mere moments, it grew several times larger, reaching the size of a baby's fist. At the same time, the underworld river surged, pulling countless souls within. Its resentment grew ever stronger. Hundreds of celestial souls struggled within it, some in agony, some in relief. It was a scene so eerie that any mortal who witnessed it would be driven to madness. When the thunder fully collapsed, all its power condensed into a single point. The resulting impact shook the entire 17th layer. A deafening explosion echoed. The 17th layer collapsed. Light burst forth from below as the destruction forcibly opened the passage to the 18th layer. Yunqizi stood frozen, his mind blank. He had already held Wang Lin in high regard. Now he realized he had still underestimated him. The spell that shattered the boundary to the 18th layer shook him to his core, filling him with dread. The big-headed boy trembled uncontrollably. The memory of that line of thunder still lingered, and his fear of Wang Lin deepened further. Ta Shan remained expressionless, but Lei Ji gasped, his heart shaken. To serve such a master was not humiliation, it was honor. In the cultivation world, strength commanded all respect. At the moment the 18th layer was forced open by thunder, the old cultivator who resembled Huanglong was startled. He took a single step and vanished. The 18th layer must not be entered. Within the 17th layer of the Immortal graveyard on planet Suzaku, just as Ta Shan was about to step into the 18th layer, a voice resounded, solemn, ancient, and filled with authority. The 18th layer is forbidden. The sound struck like a heavenly decree. Ta Shan's body was hurled backward dozens of feet, as though crushed by an invisible force. Blood surged up his throat, and he spat out a large mouthful. The big-headed boy fared no better, forced back by the same overwhelming pressure. Lei Ji felt a violent buzzing in his ears. His mind went blank, and he could only sense himself being pushed farther and farther away. Yunqizi, whose cultivation was the weakest, was thrown even more miserably. His body slammed against a distant wall. Blood spilled from his mouth, and his spirit dimmed instantly. Wang Lin's eyes turned cold. The moment the voice echoed his origin, energy surged to life. Even so, he was still forced back several dozen feet before stabilizing himself. His face turned pale as he stared forward. A ripple spread through the air. An old cultivator stepped out, his appearance strikingly similar to Huanglong. The instant he appeared, an unbearable heat spread outward. In a blink, all the cracks in the space sealed themselves, and the path to the 18th layer vanished completely. The old man carried the bearing of a celestial. His presence alone exerted a pressure that required no anger. One glance was enough to feel the vastness of his aura. Yet that aura quickly withdrew, completely restrained within him, making him all the more dangerous. With a casual wave of his sleeve, Yunqizi, Ta Shan, the big-headed boy, and Lei Ji felt a violent gust. Before they could react, they vanished, expelled directly from the Immortal graveyard. Wang Lin's pupils shrank. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind. Everyone else had been sent away except him. There was meaning in this. His gaze flickered faintly. Then he immediately bowed and spoke with respect. "This junior Wang Lin of the Hengyue sect greets sect master." The old cultivator looked at him, smiling faintly, though the smile did not reach his eyes. "And who is your sect master?" he asked. Wang Lin remained composed. "If senior does not wish to acknowledge it, then take it as this junior being mistaken." The old man laughed softly. "You are an interesting one. Why do you think I am the sect master of the Hengyue sect?" Wang Lin replied calmly. "This junior once entered the demon spirit land and saw a painting bearing senior's likeness." The old cultivator pondered briefly, then smiled. "You cannot simply call anyone sect master. I am Zhu Mu, the Thunder Celestial of the All-Heaven Star System. Since when did I gain such a disciple?" Wang Lin's mind trembled, yet his expression did not change. "This junior has mistaken you for someone else." The old man's eyes revealed a trace of admiration. He was clearly satisfied with Wang Lin's composure. "We can discuss that later," he said. "Do you know you nearly committed a grave mistake? The 18th layer is not a place you can enter, especially not with someone from the chosen Immortal clan. If he were to obtain the source origin, then not only planet Suzaku, even the entire Alliance star system would face calamity." Wang Lin stood respectfully, his expression calm, as though receiving instruction without resistance. After a moment of silence, the old cultivator spoke again. "Wang Lin, answer me truthfully. Do you sincerely regard me as the former sect master of Hengyue, and do you truly see yourself as a disciple of that sect?" Wang Lin fell into thought. His heart carried many regrets toward the Hengyue sect. It had been his first sect, his first step into the world of cultivation. He looked at the old man and answered steadily. The Hangyue sect was this junior's first sect. Planet Suzaku is my home. Oh. The old man's eyes brightened, but his voice turned thunderous. Then what of your status as Thunder Celestial of the Thunder Celestial Temple? Circumstances forced this junior into that role, Wang Lin replied, meeting his gaze without wavering. The old cultivator stared at him as though peering straight into his heart. After a long time, his expression softened. This old man does not care what identity you hold in the all-heaven star system, nor how many sects you join. But you must remember this, though you are a cultivator of the Alliance star system. You are a man of planet Suzaku. You are a disciple of the Vermilion Bird branch of the Four Divine Sect. Remember this, and I will always be your sect master. Wang Lin nodded calmly. The war between the all-heaven star system and the Alliance is their affair, the old man added lightly. It has nothing to do with my Four Divine Sect. Wang Lin's expression shifted slightly as he looked at him, but the old cultivator did not elaborate. Instead, he regarded Wang Lin and said after a pause, "Since you have reached the 17th layer, you must already have some understanding. With my assistance, you may enter the 18th layer and attempt to comprehend what lies within. Whether you gain anything will depend on your fortune." Without waiting for a response, he waved his sleeve. A powerful force enveloped Wang Lin. Though vigilance remained in his heart, he did not resist. His expression stayed respectful. The old cultivator stepped forward, bringing Wang Lin with him. Heat surged violently. Beneath them, magma formed into a circular platform. Black flames shot upward, surrounding them both. In the next instant, they vanished. Wang Lin felt an intense wave of heat within it, a trace of source origin. The flames around him were terrifying, yet his caution only deepened. His vision blurred. When it cleared, he found himself inside a secret chamber nearly 1,000 feet wide. Darkness filled the space. Only a single flickering flame burned at the center. The faint light made the surroundings feel cold and eerie, as though shadows circled the flame, seeking to devour it only to be repelled again and again. "This is the 18th layer," the old man's voice echoed. "That flame is a fragment of their ancestors' source origin. You may attempt to comprehend it. What you gain depends on your fate." Wang Lin pondered briefly, then fixed his gaze on the flame. The moment his eyes settled upon it, his mind shook violently. An unseen force surged from the flame and rushed straight into his consciousness. Within the flame lay a yearning for life, an understanding of power and enlightenment. There was also a faint scent of blood. The flame suddenly flickered wildly. A dull thud echoed within Wang Lin. Then an overwhelming flood of information surged into his mind. It was chaotic, endless, like a storm threatening to tear his mind apart. In that instant, a change occurred in his eyes. A sun appeared in his left eye. A moon formed in his right. His karma domain spread rapidly through his entire body. Within his mind, the yin and yang fishes emerged, revolving slowly. As they turned, all chaotic thoughts were swept away. Then, a scene appeared, one that shook him to the core. At the same moment, the old cultivator appeared beside him. He watched closely, a trace of approval in his gaze. "Not bad," he murmured. "This little fellow is already able to gain insight from such a fragment of source origin. After observing further, I may allow him to enter the Vermilion Bird lineage." Meanwhile, Wang Lin found himself within a vast starry sky. Before him were countless celestials, wielding all manner of magical treasures. Facing them were enormous yellow talismans, tens, hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of feet in length. Upon each talisman stood strange figures. Their attire was not much different from cultivators, yet their bodies bore plant-like tattoos of the chosen Immortal clan. The difference lay in the number of leaves each tattoo carried. Every one of them had a mark glowing between their brows. This was war. As the two sides clashed, tattoos flashed brilliantly. Those bearing them unleashed strange, unpredictable spells, powers rooted in those markings. They could seal heaven and earth, causing the origin energy of the world to tremble. Then, from one of the largest talismans, an old man charged forth. His tattoo bore many leaves, and among them a single golden leaf. He spread his arms. The tattoos around him surged outward. Space itself trembled. The Celestials cried out in alarm. They were surrounded. Their celestial origins were stripped away. At that critical moment, a streak of black light cut across the void. A figure emerged shrouded completely in darkness. His appearance could not be seen. He engaged the old man instantly. In a flash, the black-clad figure reached out and grasped the space between the old man's brows. With ruthless force, he tore out a mass of flame filled with vitality. The moment the flame was extracted, it shattered into countless sparks. One spark shot directly toward Wang Lin. It struck between his brows. A searing pain erupted. His body trembled violently, as if an overwhelming force was driving him backward through time itself. A dull thud echoed. His eyes snapped open. He had awakened. The first thing he did was look toward the flame. The more he stared, the more it resembled the fire once embedded between that tattooed old man's brows. The previous scene felt like a dream. Yet the burning heat between his brows told him it had all been real. He reached up instinctively and touched his forehead. There was nothing there. At that same moment, a massive stone streaked across the starry sky, flying toward the western region of the Alliance star system. A figure in red stood atop it. His gaze was cold, ruthless, fixed upon the distant stars. All heaven thunder celestial Shu Mu, he muttered softly. I hope you are not too weak. Very good. The old cultivator's voice reverberated softly within the chamber, echoing with quiet authority. Ripples spread through the air. From within them, the old cultivator stepped forward. His gaze settled on Wang Lin, lingering especially between his brows. His tone was calm, yet probing. You saw it. Wang Lin rose to his feet. He clasped his hands respectfully. I saw some scenes. A faint smile touched the old cultivator's lips. He raised his right hand and reached toward the flame. The flame flickered, then obediently fell into his grasp. This object was formed from the essence source origin of a peak golden leaf member of the Fu clan. If you can comprehend this source origin, it will greatly benefit your cultivation. His voice remained steady. This is also a test, one that must be passed to become an inner disciple of the Vermilion Bird branch of the Four Divine Sect. If you succeed in gaining comprehension, you may enter as an inner disciple. As he spoke, the old cultivator seemed to absorb a trace of the flame's power. A faint redness surfaced on his face. After a long moment, it faded. He returned to normal, then waved his sleeve. Wang Lin vanished. Do what you must, the old cultivator said, his voice now carrying a trace of dominance. With this old man present, no one can touch planet Suzaku. After sending Wang Lin away, a strange light flickered within his eyes. He muttered to himself, his voice low and resolute. Fu clan, this old man will definitely open the final layer. Wang Lin reappeared atop a mountain on planet Suzaku. His face was pale. He turned his gaze toward the direction of the forsaken Immortal clan and fell into deep thought. That old cultivator, his cultivation is extremely high. He is likely on the same level as Master Flamespark, perhaps even stronger. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed slightly. Why would such a person remain on planet Suzaku for so long? He paused, thoughts shifting rapidly. At the very least, I can confirm that opening the final 2 layers of the forsaken Immortal clan is one of his objectives. As for whether he knows about the land of the ancient god, a sharp glint flashed through Wang Lin's eyes. He did not linger. He turned and departed swiftly. His identity is unusual. Though he belongs to the Vermilion Bird branch of the Four Divine Sect, his words carried deeper implications. Wang Lin shook his head faintly. Too few clues. No point speculating. It is time to leave. Having made his decision, Wang Lin spread out his divine sense. He located Tarshan and the others. A message was sent. Then he lowered his gaze toward the land below. He had already resolved all matters on planet Suzaku. He could not remain here much longer. After all, Tuo Sen was still present. A faint sigh escaped him. His figure flickered. In an instant, he shot toward the heavens. At the same moment, Tarshan, the big-headed boy, and Lei Ji flew out from different regions of the planet. converging rapidly. On a distant peak, Zhou Wutai stood silently. He gazed toward the horizon, his expression heavy. After a long time, he turned and left without a word. At the boundary between the Sea of Devils and the country of Hofen Li Shiqing also looked up at the sky. His expression was complex. After a long silence, he murmured softly, "Little sister, following him was your choice. Your brother blesses you." Within the Cloud Sky sect, Tai Yan suddenly awakened, as if sensing something. He raised his head and looked upward. He knew clearly this time, once Wang Lin departed, it would likely be a very long time before he returned. Wang Lin appeared in the void beyond planet Suzaku. Shortly after Tarshan and the others arrived, Tarshan stepped forward, his form blurred, merging directly into Wang Lin's shadow. The big-headed boy, having recovered somewhat, stood respectfully to the side. Lei Ji's eyes flickered. Without waiting for an order, cracking sounds echoed from his body. In an instant, his form expanded. He became a towering giant, thousands of feet tall. A powerful pressure spread outward, enveloping the surrounding space. The reason many powerful cultivators favored the giant demon clan as mounts was precisely because of this overwhelming physical strength and oppressive aura. They were comparable to nearly all demonic beasts. Furthermore, the innate bloodline abilities of the giant demon clan made them highly coveted. Lei Ji's massive body trembled slightly. Then he knelt. His voice boomed like thunder. "Master, Lei Ji is willing to become your mount." Wang Lin looked at the enormous figure before him. For a brief moment he was silent. To ride a giant demon clan member as a mount, it was indeed striking. Anyone who witnessed it would be shaken. A faint smile appeared on Wang Lin's face. With a single step, he landed upon Lei Ji's back. The big-headed boy hurriedly followed. He was small in stature, though his head was large and fierce in appearance. Standing behind Wang Lin made his status unmistakable. He was a servant. Lei Ji's body was vast. His back spanned thousands of feet. His skin was blue smooth and flat across his back. Once Wang Lin settled, Lei Ji let out a roar. His body surged forward. His speed was astonishing. Though not as fast as the Thunder Beast, it was not far behind. His immense form cut through the starry sky, generating violent currents that spread in all directions. The big-headed boy watched a strange expression surfacing on his face. He could clearly feel the difference between the Alliance star system and the All-Heaven star system. In All-Heaven, there were no giants thousands of feet tall, nor were there cultivators who used such beings as mounts. The thought alone felt unreal. Yet at the same time, it stirred something within him. If he were to encounter someone riding such a mount, killing intent would inevitably arise in his heart. He would want to kill them and seize the mount. A cultivator who dares to sit upon such a being is no ordinary individual, the big-headed boy muttered inwardly, sighing as he looked toward Wang Lin. Suddenly his pupils shrank. In the distance, a figure appeared. That person stood atop a massive stone. The stone was riddled with holes resembling a beehive. The figure wore red robes. He appeared like a streak of crimson light. His hands were clasped behind his back as he rapidly approached. The stone beneath him moved with terrifying speed. As it advanced, it produced a deafening roar like a sonic boom. Waves surged through the starry sky. The red-robed man appeared to be around 30 years old. 7 swords circled around him, each radiating a terrifying, killing aura. That aura carried the stench of blood. It spread outward, forming a vortex that seemed to condense into the shape of a massive python. The phantom beast opened its jaws and roared toward Lei Ji. With that roar, a cold and merciless voice echoed through the void. Cultivation Alliance's slaughter domain. Kill Yu Fei has come to take your head. The moment the words fell, the stone accelerated even further. Flames ignited upon its surface from friction as it shot directly toward Lei Ji. Lei Ji's expression changed. Panic surfaced. He was about to dodge. At that instant, the big-headed boy glanced at Wang Lin. His teeth clenched. Without hesitation, he stepped forward. His hands formed a seal. Celestial origin energy surged forth, forming a storm around his body. In an instant, a celestial spell took shape. With a shout, he pushed forward. The celestial origin energy transformed into countless threads, weaving together into a fine net that rushed toward the incoming stone. But in that very moment, the red-robed man's eyes flashed crimson. One of the 7 blood swords shot out instantly like lightning aimed directly at the big-headed boy. As it flew, thick red mist poured from the blade. With a loud bang, the mist condensed, taking human form. It was identical to the red-robed man. An avatar. The moment it appeared, it waved its hand. 7 streaks of blood-red light erupted outward. Its gaze was icy as it charged toward the big-headed boy. The two collided in battle. Spells clashed. Explosions echoed through the void. In a short time, neither side could gain the upper hand. That avatar, early-stage Nirvana Scryer. The true body, mid-stage Nirvana Scryer. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed as the stone closed in. Lei Ji roared repeatedly. Behind Wang Lin, his shadow flickered. Tashan stepped out. Without hesitation, he threw a punch. Yet the red-robed man's expression did not change in the slightest. A second sword exploded, forming another avatar. 7 bloodlights surrounded it as it charged directly at Tashan. Wang Lin remained calm. Still seated upon Lei Ji's back, he slowly raised his right hand. In an instant, countless bolts of lightning gathered. The surrounding space transformed into a domain of thunder, a hell of lightning. The red-robed man narrowed his eyes. The stone beneath him abruptly halted 1,000 feet away. A cold smile appeared on his lips. "You truly deserve your title. All heaven's thunder celestial," he said slowly. "You are indeed worthy of the name." He waved his right hand. The remaining 5 blood swords shot outward, spreading in 5 directions with him at the center. They exploded into clouds of blood mist, transforming into 5 more avatars. Each avatar was surrounded by 7 blood-red lights. Within each light, a blood-red sword hovered. In an instant, 5 avatars and 35 flying swords formed a formation around him. Each avatar stood 500 feet from the main body. The surrounding lightning surged inward, but strangely all of it was drawn toward the blood swords. Not a single strand of thunder could enter the 500-foot radius. Thunder roared continuously. The red-robed man sneered as he looked at Wang Lin. All of the lightning was blocked. "Is this all your strength?" he said, shaking his head. Disappointment filled his eyes. "If this is the extent of your spells, then you will not escape." A cold glint flashed within Wang Lin's eyes. A vortex appeared between his brows. In the next instant, his ancient thunder dragon origin soul surged forth, roaring toward the heavens. He exerted his command over thunder. Beneath the roaring heavens, the world seemed to overturn. Countless bolts of lightning emerged from the void, converging toward Wang Lin. The sight was devastating, as if heaven itself had descended in wrath. With every peal of thunder, more lightning was born. It resembled divine retribution. The red-robed man, Yu Fei, glanced at the scene and burst into laughter. Yet within that laughter lay an endless chill. "Good. Now you carry the aura of a thunder celestial of the all-heaven star system. My journey to personally take your head was not wasted. When you die, you may smile in the underworld. All who have died by my hand were renowned." Arrogant. Wang Lin's expression remained cold. He lifted a finger, and the thunder in the surroundings surged several-fold. Lightning from tens of thousands of kilometers away began to gather. From above, the region resembled a vast sea of thunder. That sea began to contract amid endless rumbling. At its center stood the red-robed man. The contraction was terrifyingly fast. As it shrank, it drew in even more thunder. The power resembled the end of the world. Spatial cracks spread in all directions. Wherever thunder passed, icy winds howled out from those fissures. The scene was shocking beyond measure. With each roar, the contraction accelerated further. It was like an enormous ring, tens of thousands of kilometers wide, rapidly collapsing toward Yu Fei. As it shrank, the thunder grew denser, more violent. Compressed to an unimaginable degree, its might became indescribable. It was as if all thunder within that vast range had been forced into a single point. Its power rivaled divine punishment. Now it contracted madly, its roar overwhelming all other sounds. Even Tarshan and the big-headed boy, locked in battle, withdrew instantly, their expressions turning grave. In almost a single breath, all thunder from tens of thousands of kilometers crashed down upon the 35 flying swords and 5 avatars. Surrounding Yu Fei, a heaven-shaking explosion erupted. Space itself seemed to tremble. The gathered thunder compressed to its limit and slammed into the swords. One blood sword quivered violently before collapsing, shattering into fragments that were hurled backward by the force. It did not end there. The remaining flying swords collapsed one after another beneath the devastating assault. In an instant, all 35 swords were destroyed. The surrounding thunder did not pause. With monstrous momentum, it surged toward Yu Fei. 500 feet was crossed in the blink of an eye. At the critical moment, the 5 avatars transformed into 5 massive swords, forming a barrier 100 feet around Yu Fei. The thunder struck them, causing violent tremors. Cracking sounds echoed from the blades. Yu Fei's expression remained calm. He stared coldly at Wang Lin. "I did underestimate your thunder, but before me it is still insufficient." He slapped his storage bag. An object appeared in his hand. It was a branch, plain in appearance, yet exuding an ancient aura. One of the treasures of my slaughter domain, the branch of the Thunder World tree. The domain master said it could suppress your thunder. Let me show you how I shatter it. He cast the branch forward. At the same time, the 5 swords withdrew. With no obstruction, the thunder surged forward. Yet in that instant, Wang Lin seemed to lose control. All thunder rushed toward the branch. As it roared, the branch absorbed everything. Lightning flickered around it continuously. Yu Fei stood beside it with a sneer. The thunder ignored him entirely, pouring into the branch without harming him. Wang Lin's expression darkened. With your early Nirvana Scryer cultivation, unless a miracle occurs, you are nothing before me. It is time to end this. Killing intent filled Yu Fei's eyes as he charged forward. The 5 swords followed, closing in on Wang Lin. Wang Lin retreated, gaze steady. His voice was calm. "I will give you that miracle." Ripples spread beneath his feet. In the next instant, he vanished. Yu Fei's pupils shrank. His origin energy surged outward, forming a storm around him. Yet he found no trace of Wang Lin. Far from planet Suzaku, within the Alliance star system, there existed a cultivation planet rich in spiritual energy. It was a rank 6 cultivation country. 5 rank 5 cultivation nations resided upon it. In one of them, Fallen Moon, a woman stood outside an alchemy room on a secluded mountain. She wore a pink butterfly dress, young, delicate, and beautiful. Above her right brow were tiny metallic specks, lending her a charming air. Her skin was like jade, her hair like drifting clouds. "Senior brother Wang, are you here? I'm Song Ying." Her cheeks were flushed. Her voice was soft like a songbird. She gazed into the room as she spoke. Inside, a man sat cross-legged. His hair was red, his expression cold. Around 30 in appearance, his aura carried a chill that seemed to turn all around him into winter. Hearing her voice, he frowned. "I'm not here." His tone was icy. He closed his eyes and continued cultivating. Yet Song Ying grew delighted upon hearing him. She stepped forward and entered the alchemy room. "Brother Wang Lin, I won't disturb you long. I'll just sit for a while and leave." She stopped at the threshold, choosing not to enter. Sitting outside, she felt the cold aura flowing from within. It entered her body, causing her face to redden, yet filling her with comfort. Her cultivation relied on cold energy, yet it had stagnated. Few places in the sect provided such energy, and her status barred her from entering them. Once, while collecting pills, she had discovered this place. The cold energy here had greatly improved her cultivation. From that day on, she returned often. Eventually, she learned of an outer sect disciple named Wang Lin. He was merely a worker in the alchemy room. Yet she found it strange she had never seen him work. Even the alchemy room's uncle master treated him with great respect. He was mysterious, full of secrets. For reasons she could not explain, she wished to uncover them all, and this place aided her cultivation. Thus she came almost every day. As for Wang Lin's coldness, it did not frighten her. Instead, it deepened her curiosity. Often her thoughts lingered on his cold figure. Her face flushed as she cultivated, but today her heart raced. She could not calm herself. Touching the object hidden within her clothes, she hesitated. Biting her lip, she spoke softly toward the room. "Senior brother Wang, I—" Before she could finish, the door opened. Wang Lin stepped out. At that instant, a surge of cold energy spread outward. This was not ordinary cold. It was residual spiritual energy left behind by an ancient god absorbing energy. To Wang Lin, it was insignificant. To others, it was immensely dense. Fortunately, the alchemy room already possessed abundant spiritual energy, masking its presence. Song Ying swallowed her words. Just as she gathered courage to continue, she saw Wang Lin step forward, rise into the sky, and vanish. Her expression dimmed. She took out an embroidered pouch filled with spirit herbs she had personally gathered. It calmed the mind. With a single step, Wang Lin's original body left the planet and entered space. Ripples formed. Wang Lin emerged once more. The avatar and the original body moved toward each other. They collided and a green light flashed. They became one. After hundreds of years apart, they fused again. A terrifying aura erupted from Wang Lin, spreading through the stars. The fusion of ancient god and cultivator caused crackling sounds throughout his body. Lightning coursed endlessly around him. His left eye held the sun. His right eye held the moon. His hair, once red, now turned purple after merging with black. It moved without wind. The ancient god stars were hidden within his third eye, unseen. "I will give you a miracle." His cold voice echoed across the stars, rolling like thunder. With one step, he disappeared. Wang Lin's appearance had not changed much, yet he was exceedingly calm. Faint lines lingered across his body, barely visible. From within him, an overwhelming aura surged outward, flooding the starry sky. As that aura spread, it stirred a vast disturbance across the rank 6 cultivation planet. Countless cultivators were jolted awake from meditation, their souls trembling violently. Before the shock could settle, Wang Lin stepped forward. Ripples formed beneath his feet. In an instant, he vanished into the stars. Yu Fei's face darkened. His fist clenched tightly. When he saw the ripples beneath Wang Lin's feet earlier, his pupils had contracted sharply. A deep shock had struck him. Spatial bending. He recognized the spell, but he had never imagined that Xu Mu would already have mastered it. Among all the cultivators, he knew only a few could wield such a technique. Fewer still were those at the same level as him. How could he not be shaken? Moreover, none of the intelligence he had received mentioned this ability at all. Almost instinctively, Yu Fei spread his origin energy. The surrounding space collapsed under its force. Yet there was no trace of Xu Mu. Even when he distorted the origin energy completely, he still could not locate him. Yu Fei's expression grew colder. Then he understood. Xu Mu had escaped. A furious roar burst from his throat. He turned abruptly, locking onto the big-headed boy who was battling his avatar. All his rage and killing intent shifted toward that single target. He charged forward without hesitation. "Your master has fled. Then I'll start with you." His fury burned fiercely. It was suffocating. As a mid-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivator, he had allowed an early-stage opponent to escape, and worse, he could not even pursue him. Such humiliation had not touched him in a long time. The big-headed boy was already struggling against Yu Fei's avatar. Suddenly his scalp went numb. His mind nearly collapsed. Cursing Wang Lin inwardly, he retreated frantically, trying to escape. But Yu Fei was too fast. In his rage, he closed the distance instantly. With a single finger point, 5 blood swords shot forward. Die for me. The 5 swords surged like 5 early-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivators. Combined with the previous one, it was as though 6 cultivators attacked at once. How could the big-headed boy withstand this? Despair filled him. Madness flickered in his heart. He prepared to detonate his origin soul. No matter what, he would destroy at least one avatar. At that critical moment between life and death, a cold voice sounded behind him. "This is my miracle." The moment the voice echoed, a hand seized him and hurled him backward. He was thrown clear of danger. Wang Lin stepped out from the void. His expression was icy. Facing the 6 blood swords, he threw a punch. The force behind it surpassed even Tarshan's strength. The roar of that punch seemed capable of shattering space itself. A chain of sonic booms erupted. The space before him fractured. Cold air poured from countless cracks, yet it could not touch him. If even space shattered, the 6 blood swords stood no chance. His fist struck one sword directly. It trembled violently before exploding with a bang. Fragments were forced backward, reforming into an avatar that coughed blood, terror filling its eyes as it retreated. Wang Lin remained cold like eternal ice. Yu Fei's avatars were early-stage Nirvana scryers. His true body was mid-stage. Together they formed a force difficult to kill. Even victory would demand a heavy price. Thus Wang Lin chose decisiveness. He stepped forward, appearing beside the injured avatar before the others could react. Without hesitation, he struck again. A thunderous boom echoed. Space itself seemed to shiver. The avatar coughed more blood. Bloody mist burst from its body. After 10 steps of retreat, it collapsed completely. Absolute slaughter. Utter merciless slaughter. Without pause, Wang Lin turned toward the remaining 5 swords. His movements were instantaneous, leaving behind after-images. His next punch landed into empty space. Cracking sounds rang out as a massive tear split the void like a raging dragon. One blood sword flashed toward him. He did not even glance at it. His hand reached out. The sword trembled, struggling, but was seized. He crushed it without mercy. Another sword collapsed. As it attempted to escape, lightning gathered beneath Wang Lin's gaze. Thunder crashed down in countless bolts. The avatar screamed as its body burst apart. 2 destroyed. At that moment, the remaining 4 swords closed in and struck his body. Metallic clashes rang out. They could not pierce him. A terrifying rebound force erupted from Wang Lin, sending all 4 swords flying back, trembling violently. The big-headed boy stood frozen, eyes wide with horror. Those flying swords couldn't harm him. Yu Fei was no less shaken. For the first time, his expression changed drastically. Everything had happened too quickly. In the span of a breath, 2 avatars had been destroyed. A storm rose within his heart. He was about to act, but Wang Lin turned and roared. Roar. It was the roar of an ancient god. That voice had not echoed in this world for countless ages. Now it erupted once more like the true sound capable of tearing apart the heavens. Before this roar, even heavenly thunder trembled. The starry sky bowed. He was an ancient god. In ancient times, gods like him had filled this world. The roar carried an ancient will. All life must yield. All power must collapse. Compared to it, what was thunder? The roar surged like a storm sweeping everything. Yu Fei had just stepped forward when the sound struck him. His mind shook violently. A force he could not resist slammed into him. He retreated instinctively as though remaining would tear him apart. His face turned pale. Before him, Wang Lin was no longer human, but an enraged ancient beast. His origin energy spiraled uncontrollably, threatening collapse. If it ceased, he would die. His ears rang. The world vanished. Only his heartbeat remained loud, accelerating. Faster, faster, until the beats merged into one continuous rhythm. Fear filled his eyes. A fear rooted in the soul. Fear of ancient gods. For the first time in his life, Yu Fei felt terror. It began as a trace, then consumed him entirely. The big-headed boy's face was drained of color. Though he now possessed celestial origin in that moment, he felt like nothing more than an ant. Lei Ji trembled as well. A will roared within him. Like a servant meeting his true master, he could not help but kneel, submitting instinctively. It was unfamiliar, yet deeply familiar. As for the 4 remaining swords, under the impact of that roar, the world changed color. Space collapsed. They exploded instantly. Fragments scattered and reformed into avatars. But the moment they appeared, the force struck again. Like a destructive gale, it swept through them. All 4 avatars collapsed, completely erased. Wang Lin stepped forward. Ripples appeared beneath his feet. He vanished and reappeared beside Tarshan, who faced the final avatar. That last avatar shaken had already stopped attacking and was retreating, but it was too late. Wang Lin appeared. His fingers formed a sword. He pressed downward. Thunder gathered from all directions. Yin and Yang manifested. With a single motion, the final avatar exploded. In only a few breaths, Wang Lin had annihilated all 7 avatars. The shock he brought was beyond imagination. He turned gaze cold, fixing upon the pale Yu Fei. "This is the miracle I grant you. Are you satisfied?" Yu Fei's eyes filled with terror. He could clearly sense that Shu Mu's cultivation was profoundly strange. Though Shu Mu was only at the early stage of Nirvana Scrya, his physical body was so powerful that it surpassed even the treasures refined through Yu Fei's avatars. This realization shook him to his core. What truly shattered his composure was the roar from moments before. That single roar had annihilated all 4 of his avatars. Even Yu Fei himself had felt an overwhelming, irresistible fear. At this moment, he no longer had the courage to continue fighting. His figure flickered. He coughed up a mouthful of blood, then merged into it, fleeing rapidly into the distance. As he fled, the stone beneath his feet suddenly collapsed. A violent surge of killing intent erupted outward, forming a terrifying shock meant to block any pursuit. Wang Lin's expression remained cold. He formed a seal with one hand and pointed upward. A fierce gale surged forth, dispersing the force from the shattered stone. Without pause, he stepped forward and gave chase. Yu Fei was extremely fast. Blood escape was a desperate technique, one that consumed the user's own vitality. He was in complete panic, no longer caring about the cost. All he wanted was to escape. Yet when he had fled tens of thousands of kilometers, a ripple appeared before him. Wang Lin stepped out from within it and threw a punch directly at Yu Fei's face. The punch struck the void itself, causing space to shatter. The origin energy of the world surged violently. Yu Fei's body trembled and he coughed up blood. The bloodlight surrounding him dissipated as he was forcibly dragged out of his blood escape. A trace of madness appeared in Yu Fei's eyes. He formed a seal and a beam of blood-red light shot out from his forehead. The light was dazzling, filled with a dense, evil aura. With a shout, it transformed into a 100-foot-long sword energy that slashed toward Wang Lin. This was his life treasure. Driven to the brink, he used it without hesitation. After releasing the sword, he formed another seal. The blood before him churned violently, transforming into a 1,000-foot-long python. The python opened its massive jaws, attempting to devour Wang Lin whole. Even after this, Yu Fei still felt uneasy. He slapped his storage bag. A large number of treasures flew out, each radiating different flashes of light. He spat out essence blood, which landed upon every treasure. "Kill!" he roared. All the magic treasures surged forward, charging toward Wang Lin. Yu Fei's face was pale, yet he did not hesitate. He continued retreating. Wang Lin remained indifferent. Facing the massive sword formed from Yu Fei's life treasure, a vast amount of spiritual energy erupted from his body. His figure began to expand rapidly, growing into a giant hundreds of feet tall. This colossal form exuded an ancient, overwhelming aura. He did not dodge. He allowed the sword to strike him directly. Wang Lin did not even slow down. Instead, it was the sword that shattered. Had Wang Lin not fused with his original body, he would not have dared to face the treasures of a mid-stage Nirvana Scrya cultivator so directly. But now, with the fusion complete, his body could fully withstand such attacks. The powerful origin energy within him swept outward, knocking away all incoming treasures. As for the python that followed closely behind, it lunged forward, attempting to swallow him. Wang Lin's expression did not change. He reached out, grabbed the python's head, and crushed it instantly. Just as he was about to discard it, his eyes flickered. He discovered that the python possessed a soul. Without hesitation, the underworld river appeared. Resentful energy filled the surroundings. He threw the python into the river, then waved his hand. All incoming treasures collapsed into fragments. Far away, Yu Fei, whose life treasure had been destroyed, coughed up another mouthful of blood. His face turned even paler. Gritting his teeth, his eyes filled with ruthless determination. Enduring immense pain, he tore off his own left arm. Blood sprayed everywhere. His face turned deathly pale as he muttered a complex incantation. His severed arm suddenly collapsed, forming a vortex gate. Without hesitation, Yu Fei stepped into the vortex. Zhumu of the Soul Killer duo, there is another beside me. No matter how strong your body is under the spells of a soul killer, you will still die. His eyes burned with monstrous hatred as he disappeared into the vortex. Wang Lin's eyes turned cold. His nature had always been simple. If others did not provoke him, he would not act. But if they did, he would kill without mercy. Now Yu Fei was about to escape. His body had already entered the vortex. The vortex spun rapidly, shrinking about to vanish completely. Killing intent surged in Wang Lin's eyes. A hymn echoed. Before him, the phantom of a massive furnace appeared hundreds of feet tall. The ancient god furnace. Previously, his avatar required greed seal to use it. But now, after merging with his original body, his control had grown far stronger. Position shift. A violent echo burst from within the furnace. The shrinking vortex seemed to be grasped by invisible giant hands and was dragged toward Wang Lin. At the same time, Wang Lin himself moved forward in a strange, incomprehensible manner. As they crossed, Wang Lin's two fingers formed a sword. Within those fingers lay heavenly chop, heavenly thunder, the yin-yang fishes, the immense strength of an ancient god, and a spell capable of shattering all things. Without hesitation, he thrust his fingers into the shrinking vortex. Within the slaughter domain of the Alliance star system, among the 2 sects, 4 temples, and 8 domains, an elliptical vortex suddenly appeared beside a towering structure shaped like swords driven into the earth. A mysterious force radiated from the vortex, instantly drawing the attention of nearby cultivators. Yu Fei stepped out. His face was deathly pale. Blood continued to flow from his severed arm. Behind him, the vortex rapidly shrank. Seeing the familiar surroundings of the slaughter domain, he felt a brief sense of relief. Yet the terror from before still lingered. He turned toward the tower, about to speak. At that very moment, a terrifying aura erupted from the tower, accompanied by an enraged roar. Yu Fei, leave that place. A beam of red light shot out from the tower, rushing toward him. But it was too late. The instant Yu Fei heard the voice, he did not hesitate. He surged forward. Yet in that same instant, a terrifying force burst from the shrinking vortex behind him. The vortex tore open. 2 fingers emerged. Those fingers carried monstrous killing intent. They pressed down on Yu Fei's back. Shumu. Yu Fei coughed up blood as an overwhelming force hurled him forward. His body emitted cracking sounds. Blood mist exploded from his pores. In an instant, his body collapsed completely. Even his origin soul was unable to escape. It perished alongside his body. His storage bag shattered as well. Countless items scattered into the air. Among them, a branch attempted to flee, but it was seized by the 2 fingers extending from the vortex. The entire slaughter domain fell into uproar. The red light from the tower surged toward the fingers. But as the fingers pressed down, they withdrew into the vortex. The vortex vanished. A furious roar echoed. From the red light, a withered right arm shot out, reaching into the fading vortex. With a cracking sound, it pulled out half of a broken branch. Shumo. The red light condensed into a figure, an extremely aged man with crimson hair. His face was twisted with rage. For countless years, the slaughter domain had never suffered such humiliation. One of their own had been killed within their territory, while they stood powerless. It was no different from an enemy slaughtering their way into their stronghold. Roars erupted from other towers. Cultivators filled with killing intent emerged, their gazes fixed on the place where Yu Fei had died. They remained silent, but that silence contained unimaginable killing intent, suppressed and waiting to erupt. The red-haired old man took a deep breath. His expression turned grim. He waved his sleeve and returned to the tower. After a long time, a cold voice echoed outward. "Hunt Shumu." Elsewhere, Wang Lin withdrew his fingers. His enormous body gradually shrank, returning to normal within a few breaths. If he chose to kill, he would eliminate the threat completely. Letting an enemy escape would only invite future danger. After a moment of thought, he glanced at the branch in his hand and stored it away. Obtaining it while killing Yu Fei had been a great risk, but it would be of immense use. This item will grant me peace in the western region of the Alliance. His figure flickered and vanished. When he reappeared, he stood atop Lei Ji's back. The big-headed boy had been startled, but upon seeing Wang Lin return, he relaxed and bowed respectfully. Tarshan, slightly injured from battling Yu Fei's avatar, sat nearby, quietly recovering. Wang Lin sat down calmly and said, "Lei Ji find a hidden, uninhabited planet. I will enter closed-door cultivation." Lei Ji let out a deep rumble as he carried them far into the distant void. Lei Ji's massive body radiated an overwhelming pressure as he sped through the western region of the Alliance. Not far ahead, strands of sword energy shimmered in the void. A group of all-heaven cultivators approached. At their front stood an earth celestial. The moment he saw Lei Ji's enormous form, his expression tightened with vigilance. The cultivators behind him also braced themselves, spells flickering into readiness as if facing a great enemy. Then in that instant, the leader's gaze sharpened. He noticed Wang Lin and the big-headed boy standing upon Lei Ji's back. His breath caught. Without hesitation, he stepped back several paces and cupped his hands respectfully. "Greetings, Thunder Celestial." The name Shu Mu carried immense weight throughout all heaven. He had personally witnessed Wang Lin's feats. His admiration was genuine, without the slightest trace of falsehood. Wang Lin gave a faint nod. He did not speak. Lei Ji moved swiftly. In a blink, they passed beyond the group. Only after Wang Lin had gone far into the distance did the cultivator turn back, eyes filled with envy. To possess such a mount, only someone like the Thunder Celestial is worthy. He was not alone in that feeling. Every cultivator present looked on with admiration and envy. As Lei Ji continued forward, they encountered more all-heaven cultivators. This region was clearly under full occupation. Whenever they saw Wang Lin, their expressions turned respectful. When they saw Lei Ji, shock and awe filled their eyes. News of Shu Mu's reappearance spread quickly among all heaven. Rumors had already been circulating during this time. Most claimed that Shu Mu had avoided battle. Some said he had betrayed them and defected to the Alliance. Shu Ting delighted in such talk and secretly encouraged it. The older generation of cultivators did nothing to suppress these rumors. Combined with Wang Lin's earlier disappearance, the stories grew increasingly exaggerated. Some even believed Shu Mu is a spy sent by the Alliance. Lei Ji's presence drew attention everywhere. Many cultivators gazed at Wang Lin with respect. Yet there were also those whose eyes carried a hint of mockery, as if waiting to witness a spectacle. One day later, Lei Ji halted outside an abandoned planet. The planet held almost no spiritual energy. Even the all-heaven cultivators stationed there paid it little mind. Only a few remained behind as guards. Wang Lin carefully observed the planet. It was remote, quiet. Though occupied, it would not hinder his closed-door cultivation. After a moment of thought, he stepped off Lei Ji's back and walked toward the planet. The big-headed boy and Tarshan followed immediately. Lei Ji's body shrank, returning to a 30-foot-tall form as he trailed behind them. As they approached, roars echoed from the planet below. Though abandoned, it was still inhabited by numerous fierce beasts. These creatures possessed no intelligence. They lived purely by instinct. Snakes dozens of feet long slithered across the land. Winged tigers prowled the skies. Such beings were commonplace. The instant Wang Lin set foot upon the planet, the stationed cultivators were stirred from their cultivation. After a brief hesitation, they rose into the air on swordlight and flew toward him. Wang Lin chose a mountain peak. The mountain was strange. It rose like a single finger, pointing straight toward the heavens as if it sought to pierce the sky itself. Standing atop this peculiar peak, Tarshan acted without waiting for instruction. He threw a punch, carving a cave directly into the mountain. At that moment, several streaks of light cut across the sky. The stationed cultivators arrived, stopping 1,000 feet away. They cupped their hands respectfully. "Greetings, Thunder Celestial." Wang Lin nodded slightly. "I will cultivate a celestial spell here. Do not disturb me." The cultivators quickly agreed. They clasped their hands again and withdrew without delay. Once they were gone, Wang Lin raised his right hand and formed a seal. Annihilation restrictions surged outward. His hands moved continuously, weaving layers upon layers, until the entire mountain was covered in traces of restriction. Afterward, Tarshan and the big-headed boy sat at a distance, silently guarding him. Lei Ji also found a place to sit. Within his bloodline, he felt a subtle and mysterious transformation. He remained still, contemplating this change in silence. Wang Lin closed his eyes. The surroundings grew quiet. Only distant roars occasionally broke the stillness. The fierce beasts had retreated. Though mindless, they instinctively sensed danger and avoided this place. In this calm, Wang Lin's mind became clear. 2 celestial spells of the Celestial Emperor surfaced within his thoughts. Summon the rain. Magic arsenal. Summon the rain. Once, while using Call the Wind, Wang Lin had accidentally condensed a drop of rain. But afterward, he could never recreate it. Only after receiving Qing Shui's inheritance did he understand. Call the Wind and Summon the Rain were deeply intertwined. They could transform into one another. They could merge. As his thoughts deepened, Wang Lin slowly spread his arms. He silently comprehended the essence of Summon the Rain. This spell gathered the origin energy of the world, drawing it into his control. Then through the spell, that energy condensed into rain. Each drop contained dense origin energy. It was no longer merely a technique. It was already touching the domain of law. As his comprehension deepened, dark clouds gathered above him. They condensed rapidly, filling the sky. The scene was vast, spectacular, heavy with pressure. Wang Lin gazed at the forming rain, completely immersed. Then, the rain seemed to freeze. 2 figures stepped out from the void. Before the falling rain could touch them, it dissipated into mist. Not a single drop landed upon their bodies. "Schumer, do you acknowledge your crime?" A thunderous voice erupted. The speaker was an old man. Wang Lin recognized him at once. If his memory was correct, this was the elder in charge of punishments. Beside him stood Master Flamespark. His expression was dark, his gaze cold. The surrounding rain twisted into clouds as though ignited by invisible flames. An unbearable pressure radiated outward as if a single thought from him could collapse the heavens. "What crime?" Wang Lin asked calmly, his gaze steady. The old man's voice grew harsher. "This old man asks you, where were you during the war with the Alliance? What were you doing? You are the Thunder Celestial of the All-Heaven star system, yet you vanished before the war. If that is not a crime, then what is?" Master Flamespark remained silent, but his expression grew colder still. Over the past days, his divine sense had swept across the All-Heaven territory. He had searched everywhere, yet could not find Wang Lin. As for regions beyond, he did not dare probe recklessly. Wang Lin's expression did not change. "I went to kill Yu Fei, the killer of the Alliance slaughter domain." The moment the words left his mouth, the old man was stunned. Master Flamespark's eyes flickered with light. The old man's face darkened. He let out a sharp shout. "What killer Xu Fei? Xu Mu, do you take me for a 3-year-old child? You dare invent names, let alone speak of some slaughter domain." Wang Lin remained calm. He did not even spare the old man a glance. Instead, his eyes settled quietly on Master Flamespark. Master Flamespark studied Wang Lin. The chill in his expression gradually softened. He spoke in a measured tone. "Within the Cultivation Alliance, there is indeed a slaughter domain, and the Soul Killer duo truly exists. But tell me, what proof do you have that you killed him?" The moment these words left his mouth, the old man at his side immediately fell silent. Wang Lin's face showed no emotion. He lightly tapped his storage bag, and a half-broken tree branch appeared in his hand. Thunder still coiled around it, flickering and hissing. Without hesitation, he tossed it toward Master Flamespark. Thunder roared through the air as the branch flew forward. Master Flamespark caught it with ease. He examined it closely and at once recognized it as a treasured object of the slaughter domain. With his cultivation, he could clearly sense two distinct forces within it. One belonged to Wang Lin. The other was a powerful, sinister aura. Not bad. Master Flamespark said, his gaze sharpening with approval. This is indeed sword energy from a vice-deputy level cultivator of the slaughter domain. After a brief inspection, he returned the branch to Wang Lin. A faint smile appeared on his face. Very well, Shumu. You may cultivate here without worry. In 1 month, reinforcements will arrive. At that time, you will join the army and march north. Wang Lin clasped his hands respectfully in acknowledgement. Master Flamespark laughed softly. His eyes lingered meaningfully on the big-headed boy before he turned and left. The old man hurried after him. Soon the two figures vanished into the distant void. Wang Lin's expression remained neutral, yet the tension within him quietly eased. From the moment he entered the western region of the All-Heaven sphere of influence, he had already prepared this plan. That was why before the final battle, he had risked revealing the branch of the World Thunder Tree. It was all to earn trust. Among the stars, the satisfaction on Master Flamespark's face faded. His expression turned blank, inscrutable. No one could tell what he was thinking. The old man at his side hesitated, then spoke. Temple Lord, in my view, this Shumu is clearly lying. And that big-headed boy, he is one of the Heaven Celestials, yet he is being controlled by Zhu Mu. I believe. Master Flamespark suddenly turned. His cold gaze fell upon the old man. The old man's body trembled. His words stopped, abruptly swallowed back in fear. Master Flamespark withdrew his gaze and stepped forward into the void. This Shumu is not simple, he murmured. There are 4 powers intertwined between his brows. Even with my cultivation, I could only see through one, and that was the weakest. He moved silently among the stars, deep in thought. The power he had discerned caused his earlier suspicions to dissipate. A faint sigh escaped him. He recognized that power well. To be precise, it was the vermilion bird mark. Only cultivators of his level could perceive the mark hidden between Wang Lin's brows. This Shumu was not so strange before he went to the Alliance star system. Yet after disappearing for a few days, such changes appeared. The vermilion bird mark. That man once helped me. Forget it. He shook his head and disappeared into the depths of space, the old man following behind him. News of Shumu's return spread rapidly. His reputation in the All-Heaven star system was too great. Nearly every cultivator heard that Shumu had come back. The one most agitated was Shu Ting. Upon receiving the news, he pondered briefly, then stormed out with a group of cultivators. He needed a place, a cultivation planet, where he could vent his anger. As for Wang Lin, the abandoned planet he occupied had entered a season of rain. Endless rain blanketed a portion of the world. Thick mist rose from the water, distorting everything it touched. Even the light from the sky could not pierce through. Dust had long been washed away. Streams carved trenches across the land. Mud and debris flowed endlessly under the relentless downpour. Raindrops struck leaves and branches, producing a constant echoing rhythm. Water gathered at the edges of leaves, then dripped down in slow, heavy drops. Many fierce beasts sought shelter from this calamity of rain. Only water-dwelling creatures continued to move freely within it. The mountain where Wang Lin resided stood tall beneath the storm. The big-headed boy gazed at the falling rain, lost in silent thought. The restrictions on the mountain did not block the rain. It fell freely, shrouding everything. As he watched, memories of childhood surfaced in the boy's mind. Back then, he would often stare at the rain in a daze. He remembered clearly the night he was cast out of his family. It had also been raining. He had been pushed out into the mud, dazed and confused. At that time, he still wore that foolish smile, though it carried a trace of sorrow. He fell into muddy water. Rain soaked through his clothes. Thunder flashed, illuminating the sky. Pain stirred in his heart. He knew he was ugly. To avoid disgust from others, he always smiled. Even when his mother struck him, he forced himself to smile. Even when his siblings bullied him, he continued to smile. Yet the ending did not change. On that rainy night, his smile gradually faded. He walked away step by step, lost in the storm. His small body seemed as though it could be blown away at any moment by the thunder. The big-headed boy placed a hand on his chest. He looked at Ta Shan, then at Lei Ji, and finally at Wang Lin. For reasons he could not explain, a faint warmth rose within him. He could not forget what had happened days ago. At the moment, he had been driven to despair on the verge of self-destruction. A pair of hands had pulled him back from the edge of death. A figure had filled his vision. Lei Ji also watched the rain. As he comprehended his bloodline ability, memories of the past surfaced in the quiet. He had once been forced to leave planet Giant Demon, his heart filled with hatred. With his people, he fled into the stars. Back then, he had been lost. His heart thirsted for blood, yet he lacked the strength to act. He could only abandon his home. Had he delayed even a step, he might never have escaped at all. In his confusion, he led his clan to planet Suzaku. At that time, Suzaku was ruled by Ye Wuyu. Under Ye Wuyu's guidance, cultivators gathered and war broke out against the native inhabitants, the forsaken Immortal clan masters of runes. A once vibrant world rich with spiritual energy became half-ruined by war. There had been a man beside Ye Wuyu whom Lei Ji disliked deeply. He recalled the name Situ Nan. That man was arrogant. His actions bordered on the demonic. Compared to him, Lei Ji preferred Ye Wuyu. Ye Wuyu had welcomed the giant demon clan warmly. He had even granted them a vast territory to establish their own nation. That land lay far from the forsaken Immortal clan. It was distant and safe. Lei Ji had found no better way to repay such kindness than to raise his battle axe and slaughter the forsaken Immortal clan himself. He offered their heads in return for Ye Wuyu's favor. Looking back, Lei Ji felt regret. He was not as foolish as he appeared. In truth, he was extremely cunning. After tens of thousands of years, he had seen too much. Only long imprisonment by the corpse sect had clouded his mind. It was precisely because of his cunning that he had agreed without hesitation to become Wang Lin's mount. After observing Wang Lin, he believed that by following him, he might one day return to planet Giant Demon and claim his revenge. Especially during the earlier battle when Wang Lin released that roar, it had shaken him to his core. In that instant, all his schemes collapsed. A will buried deep within his bloodline, passed down from his ancestors, forced him into submission. From that moment, his resolve to follow Wang Lin became absolute. A mere mount will not attract attention. Everything depends on the power of my giant demon bloodline. With this thought, Lei Ji closed his eyes and continued his comprehension. Wang Lin sat quietly as rain poured down upon him. Cold energy seeped into his body with each drop. He cultivated silently, his divine sense spreading outward from the mountain, covering the surrounding region. His divine sense split into countless strands, merging with the rain. Yet each time it fused with a raindrop, that drop would strike the ground and disperse. At that instant, his divine sense would be released once more. Again and again, this cycle repeated. The rain seemed to offer no resistance to his divine sense. Yet precisely because of this, the origin energy contained within it would dissipate the moment it touched the earth. This was something Wang Lin could not prevent. As he continued gradually immersing himself in the rain, a distant realization resurfaced in his mind. This rain is born from the sky and ends in the earth. That process is life. The reason I observe the rain rather than the sky or the earth is because I observe the life of the rain. This is life and death. Wang Lin's body trembled. His eyes snapped open. He stared at the falling rain and murmured, "I have already understood life and death. What remains is the source of rain." Wang Lin stood in silence, gazing at the curtain of rain before him. Within his mind, the inheritance bestowed by Qing Shui echoed again and again. His eyes gradually grew brighter until they shone like twin beacons, piercing through the dark, rain-soaked night. I do not care whether this rain is dead or alive. I only need to remember one thing. This rain descends from the heavens. He lifted his head and looked toward the sky. Above, clouds gathered, and from those clouds the rain that blanketed the earth was born. The sky contains only clouds. Rain is born from clouds. As comprehension deepened, Wang Lin's divine sense spread outward. Yet this time it no longer merged with the falling rain. Instead, it surged upward, charging directly into the sky and penetrating the clouds. Within them, he sensed a vast amount of the world's origin energy. This origin energy was unstable. It collided endlessly with itself, and with each collision, countless droplets of rain were produced, falling toward the earth below. A sharp light flickered in Wang Lin's eyes. His body blurred, and he stepped off the mountain. Treading upon the rain as though climbing an invisible ladder, he ascended straight into the clouds. The moment he entered, thunder roared within the storm. Endless rumbling echoed in all directions. Yet this thunder held no power to obstruct him. Inside the clouds, Wang Lin's divine sense expanded even further. Continuous comprehension brought a faint smile to his lips. After a short time, he stepped out from the clouds and arrived on the opposite side of the planet. Here, vast amounts of water vapor rose silently into the air. It was invisible to the naked eye, and even his divine sense could barely detect it. This vapor formed thin, nearly imperceptible clouds that drifted upward. "I understand." Wang Lin laughed softly. He opened his arms and pointed toward the ground. Origin energy surged from his body, and the surrounding water vapor thickened. As if guided by an unseen force, it rapidly condensed. Space distorted near his hands, and within moments dark clouds emerged. These clouds condensed swiftly, gathering into a dense mass, until finally, a cluster of dark clouds formed within Wang Lin's grasp. As his divine sense swept through them, thunder began to stir inside. His will shook the clouds, producing deep rumbles as torrents of rain poured forth. For cultivators at the Nirvana Scrya stage, comprehension of laws was essential. It was this that made second-step cultivators truly formidable. Yet laws were elusive, intangible, and exceedingly difficult to grasp. This was why so few reached the second step. Some had touched fragments of law enough to raise their cultivation, yet they could not progress further. Their spells lacked power. The reason was simple: their understanding was passive, not active. Wang Lin had now brushed against the edge of a law. A faint smile appeared on his face. With a wave of his hand, the clouds turned translucent, then gradually faded until they vanished entirely. Laughing softly, he stepped once and returned to the mountain peak. Standing there, he looked up at the sky once more. Rain still fell, yet as it approached within 3 inches of him, it transformed into vapor. Soon, a thin layer of clouds formed around his body. The scene mirrored the moment when Master Flamespark had arrived. However, Wang Lin's clouds were thin, almost insubstantial. In contrast, Master Flamespark's clouds carried an overwhelming pressure, as though they could collapse the world at a mere command. Yet if Master Flamespark were to see this, he would be deeply shaken. This cloud was not formed by an origin energy technique, it was born of law. It was the power of law at work. Not deliberate, not forceful, but subtle, altering the surrounding space so that raindrops transformed into clouds. The cloud itself was already a spell, one with boundless potential. Celestial Emperor Bai Fan, truly a god among men. Wang Lin sighed softly. The technique, Summon the Rain, inherited from Qing Shui, originated from that celestial emperor. Merely by comprehending this spell, he had touched the threshold of law. This was no ordinary celestial technique. Only a handful of such spells possessed this power. Rain comes from clouds, and clouds are born of water. Yet without wind, clouds cannot form. Though Qing Shui's inheritance had not granted direct comprehension, it had imparted knowledge of the laws. For this, Wang Lin felt even deeper gratitude. I did not expect. That Situ had already grasped law back then. A memory surfaced in his mind the moment Situ Nan emerged from the heaven-defying bead. Rain had fallen, and Situ had shouted a single word: Scram. In that instant, the rain reversed, condensing back into clouds before dispersing completely. The sky cleared in a heartbeat. At the time, Wang Lin had only felt an indescribable force emanating from Situ Nan, a pressure that made the heavens tremble. as though all living beings were compelled to retreat. But back then, his cultivation had been too low. He had not been qualified to understand. Now, reflecting upon it, the truth was clear. Situ Nan had long since grasped law. It turns out, everything was like this. Wang Lin fell into thought. He recalled the moment 1,000 years ago when he first obtained the heaven-defying bead. Within it there had been a cloud. That cloud must have absorbed the world's water vapor to grow. Realization dawned, and Wang Lin smiled bitterly. Some truths had always been before him, yet without reaching the required realm, one could neither perceive nor comprehend them. Now he understood completely. 1,000 years, and only now do I begin to grasp the water law within the heaven-defying bead. He touched his forehead, a trace of regret surfacing. I have only touched it, not mastered it. Looking at the rain once more, he waved his hand lightly. Scatter! With that single motion, the clouds surged outward. The rain across the world trembled. Countless clouds gathered as though driven back by an immense wind. Under this force, all clouds in the sky collapsed. With a thunderous roar, it was as if a giant hand swept across the heavens, erasing every trace of cloud. The sky became clear. Sunlight descended warm and gentle. The earth released the fragrance of wet soil. Droplets still clung to leaves, falling slowly. A rainbow arched across the horizon like a scene from the celestial realm. Even the ferocious beasts fell silent, issuing only low growls. Birds took flight, chirping, joyfully freed from the long rain. Wang Lin remained calm. His right hand formed a seal. 10 feet before him, black wind appeared, twisting into 2 black dragons that exhaled chilling air. The cold merged with mist, forming clouds. Water droplets condensed, and the world's origin energy surged toward them. With a single command, rain could once again fall across the land. This was Summon the Rain. He waved his hand again. The clouds vanished. The black dragons dispersed. Everything returned to stillness. The big-headed boy watched his pupils shrinking. Silent, he felt his respect deepen. Lei Ji awoke from his meditation, eyes flashing with shock. So, this is the power of law. His resolve to follow Wang Lin strengthened further. As for Ta Shan, he remained unmoved, eyes closed as though blind to all of it. Wang Lin sat down calmly. Having comprehended Summon the Rain, his thoughts turned to the next technique, the one that truly interested him. Magic Arsenal. At that very moment, in the distant regions where the western and northern sectors of the Alliance star system met, illusory figures moved rapidly through space. Their speed was astonishing, vanishing in flashes. There were many such figures. Ripples spread continuously around them, accelerating their movement even further. Not long after entering the western region, they encountered a group of all-heaven cultivators. Leading them was the 6-fingered cultivator guiding his team northward. The western region was under all heaven's control. As a celestial, it was his duty to advance and open a path. He remained cautious throughout divine sense, fully extended. Suddenly danger struck. A sharp pain surged from his 6th finger. His expression changed drastically, and he halted at once. Then he saw them, countless figures rushing toward him. His pupils contracted. Without hesitation, he crushed a message rune. Instead of retreating, he charged forward. Half of the figures surrounded him instantly. The rest descended upon his companions. Screams echoed. Spells erupted. Moments later, the 6-fingered cultivator fled in panic. Yet as he escaped, black shadows surged into his body. Each impact made him tremble. After retreating dozens of feet, he stopped. His eyes turned strange, then gradually returned to normal. He looked at his body and smiled. This body is acceptable. Behind him, the all-heaven cultivators stepped forward one by one, each bearing the same eerie smile. The mysterious temple's plan to annihilate all heaven will soon begin. After this upheaval, our task is no longer limited to Shu Mu. The remnants of all heaven must be completely eradicated. Of the 4 saints, the Black Fiend Devil Saint and the Heavenly Tao Origin Saint have already arrived. This time, the all-heaven cultivators will learn. The gates of our Alliance star system are not so easily entered. With Qing Shui's inheritance in hand, Wang Lin came to understand something clearly. Among the spells of Celestial Emperor Bai Fan, Call the Wind, Summon the Rain, and Magic Arsenal, the strongest was Magic Arsenal. Even Qing Shui held this spell in high regard. It was one of the defining techniques that made his name resound throughout the celestial realm. Wang Lin placed great expectations upon it as well. He drew in a deep breath, then slowly closed his eyes. After carefully comprehending the essence of Magic Arsenal passed down through Qing Shui's inheritance, he abruptly opened them. Within his body, the celestial origin energy core began to rotate. As it turned, vast amounts of celestial origin energy surged through his meridians. His original energy gradually concealed itself until only the dense, surging celestial origin energy remained in motion. At this moment, Wang Lin radiated a powerful celestial aura. It was as if he had truly become a celestial being. The big-headed boy observed from the side, his gaze filled with complexity. He let out a quiet sigh. He had long been puzzled. Shu Mu had never entered the celestial pool, yet possessed celestial origin energy. But he did not dare to ask. Now seeing Wang Lin enveloped in celestial origin energy, he could only smile bitterly. He himself had sacrificed his domain to obtain such power, yet Shu Mu possessed both a domain and celestial origin energy. As the energy within Wang Lin circulated, his hands began to form seals derived from Qing Shui's inheritance, unique to Magic Arsenal. This spell required opening the cycle of reincarnation, extracting the soul fragments of those one had slain. Then one must create a personal, mysterious space to fuse these fragments together. Only then could Magic Arsenal take form. Its power varied from person to person. When Bai Fan used it, it covered the heavens, nearly impossible to resist. When Qing Shui used it, it was steeped in slaughter, forcing enemies to yield before battle even began. As Wang Lin's hands moved, celestial origin energy surged into the seals through his arms. The world itself seemed to shift in color. Threads of celestial origin energy intertwined before him, slowly forming a rotating structure. At first it spun slowly, but as the celestial origin core within Wang Lin accelerated, the vortex grew faster and faster, until it resembled a raging tornado. With a deafening roar, it expanded outward. In the blink of an eye, a vortex dozens of feet tall stood before him. Its rotation was so fast that it appeared motionless, yet in truth it had reached its absolute limit. Had this been before Wang Lin absorbed the celestial origin energy from the 17th layer of the Immortal graveyard, his core would have been exhausted long before the vortex could form. Even now, with his core expanded to the size of an infant's fist, he could feel the energy draining rapidly. He understood clearly he could sustain this vortex for no more than 3 days. This vortex was a self-created reincarnation cycle formed from celestial origin energy. In essence, it was a spell rooted in memory. He would immerse himself within his own past, extracting the soul fragments of all he had killed. Though these were memories within the spell, they became vividly real. The extracted soul fragments even retained traces of their cultivation, making them usable within Magic Arsenal. Time was limited. The longer he delayed, the more energy he would lose. If he failed within 3 days, the vortex would collapse entirely. The moment the vortex stabilized, Wang Lin's ancient Thunder Dragon origin soul flew out from between his brows and entered it. The vortex began to shrink, eventually imprinting itself between his eyebrows. Silence descended upon the surroundings. Within the vortex, his origin soul traveled through a tunnel of time. Gradually, it transformed, taking on a human form. Then, the tunnel ended. A blinding light filled his vision. When it cleared, Wang Lin found himself above the Hengyue sect on planet Suzaku. He saw 2 youths. One was drenched in sweat, casting the attraction spell. The other, under its control, held a dagger, pointing it toward a 3rd youth. That 3rd youth raised an axe and brought it down mercilessly. A miserable scream echoed. Wang Lin clearly saw a soul fragment emerge, flying into his origin soul. This person, I did not kill him. Then why? Before he could finish the thought, a powerful force seized him. His vision blurred. In an instant he stood upon a road. Ahead, a black-robed youth battled a middle-aged man. Moments later, the middle-aged man fell. Beside him stood a gloomy youth who said he is a disciple of old man Jimo. "We must leave quickly." The dead man's soul fragment flew out, absorbed by Wang Lin. The scene shifted again. A cave within a forest. He devoured Teng Li's foundation. Teng Li's soul fragment followed, entering Wang Lin. Scene after scene unfolded. From the Zhao country to the corpse sect. From Juming Valley to the foreign battlefield. Hofen. The Sea of Devils. The Dragon Tendon. The 100-day 10,000 Devil Kill Order. Then back to Zhao, where he slaughtered the Teng family. The battle with Xue Yue. The Rain Celestial Realm. The killing of the Xue Yue ancestor. The giant demon clan ancestor. The war between the Forsaken Immortal clan and Suzaku. The events within the Suzaku tomb. Everything replayed as if he were reliving his entire life. Tianyun sect. The demon spirit land. The celestial slaughter art. The all-heaven star system. The Huan family ancestor. The thunder celestial realm. The killing of the blood ancestor. Inside the nether beast. Slaying celestials. Massacring the Yao family in the western domain. Until at last the celestial title competition, where he claimed first place in one line to heaven. Then it stopped. Wang Lin was startled. A powerful force seemed to seize him, dragging him upward without end. Suddenly his eyes snapped open. He was drenched in sweat. The mountain still stood before him. At the same moment, the vortex between his brows ceased rotating. It dissolved back into strands of celestial origin energy returning to his body. His core, once the size of an infant's fist, had shrunk by nearly 60%. His life of slaughter had passed before him. Even now he could not tell whether he had truly awakened, or if he remained within a dream. What a terrifying celestial spell! He exhaled deeply. Bai Fan's technique was not a single spell, but a fusion extracting the essence of countless spells into one. To learn it, one had to endure its entire process. Wang Lin fell silent for a moment. Then he made his decision. The second stage of Magic Arsenal. After reviewing it carefully, ensuring no flaws remained, he raised his hand. Above him, the underworld river appeared. It spread outward, filling the world with a dense aura of resentment. Under his control, its ends connected, forming a complete circle. At that instant, an aura surged toward the heavens. Wang Lin stared at it. Then he opened his mouth and spat out an object, the celestial sealing stamp. It rose into the air. It fused with the underworld river. Hundreds of thousands of golden runes appeared, merging into the river. The river churned violently as though boiling. A shocking transformation began. The entire underworld river swept across the sky, carrying the endless seals, before completely merging with the celestial sealing stamp. A terrifying pressure spread across the abandoned planet. It came from the stamp. Its appearance changed. No longer golden, it became pitch black. From within that darkness, an overwhelming aura spread outward. It was as if countless resentful spirits were trapped inside, roaring, struggling to break free. Even more shocking, rings appeared upon the stamp, dividing it into 18 layers. Each layer radiated dense resentment, flickering with cold, sealing light. The deeper the layer, the stronger the resentment. This was Wang Lin's own domain. His personal realm for Magic Arsenal. Bai Fan had the mysterious realm, Qing Shui had the slaughter realm, and Wang Lin had the 18 layers of hell reincarnation realm. The celestial sealing stamp formed the earth. The golden runes became the seals. The underworld river served as the cycle of reincarnation. Resentment filled it all, completing the 18 layers of hell. Deeper layers housed stronger souls. The 15th to 18th layers were empty, but in the 14th, a soul fragment shrouded in blood mist and monstrous resentment. The blood ancestor, slain by Wang Lin. In the 13th layer, more than 100 celestial soul fragments taken from the immortal graveyard. They roared madly, yet remained completely sealed. There were also the souls of the Yao family cultivators, and all those at the corporeal Yang stage, and above whom Wang Lin had killed. Magic arsenal, a tyrannical spell. It seized the soul fragments of all one had slain from the cycle of reincarnation and bent them to its will. Wang Lin stood. He gazed at the 18 layers of hell suspended in the sky. A vortex appeared between his brows. His origin soul surged forth, exhaling essence origin energy. Endless black gas poured out. Each strand represented someone he had killed. As they touched the 18 layers, they were sealed within. At the same time, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding. The 1 billion soul flag flew out. He shook it. The flag unfurled, and countless soul fragments surged out wildly. Countless soul fragments surged within the 1 billion soul flag. They poured endlessly into the 18 layers of hell. With each fragment that entered, the resentment within those hells deepened and thickened. The wails grew sharper, more frenzied. Any mortal who heard them would collapse instantly, their consciousness unable to endure such torment. Even cultivators felt their minds tremble under those cries. These screams carried the grievances of countless souls, those who had perished at Wang Lin's hands. Among them were the blood ancestor celestial beings, members of the Yao family, and many other formidable cultivators. Though reduced to fragmented souls, their strength still far surpassed that of ordinary cultivators. None could easily resist them. And beyond these, there were innumerable additional fragments within the soul flag. With their presence, the 18 layers of hell finally lived up to their name. Inside the 1 billion soul flag, only the primary souls remained. Wang Lin calmly stored it away. If not for the fact that this flag had been a gift from Du Tian, he would have already sealed it within the celestial sealing stamp. Standing still, a trace of coldness flickered across Wang Lin's eyes. His voice rang out low and resolute. "This is my 18 layers of hell, my reincarnation cycle." As his words spread, the cries from the hells intensified. The sound surged outward, engulfing the entire planet. The first to falter were the fierce beasts. They scattered in panic, unable to endure the pressure. Had Wang Lin not restrained the screams, they would have collapsed on the spot. Several stationed cultivators turned pale. Their minds shook violently. Without hesitation, they rushed out of their dwellings, unwilling to remain even a moment longer. The big-headed boy inhaled sharply, staring in stunned silence at the hell celestial sealing stamp. At his level of cultivation, he could immediately sense that this treasure was far from ordinary. Lei Ji's pupils contracted. Facing the 18 layers of hell, he felt a fear rising from the depths of his soul. Wang Lin slapped his storage bag. 2 balls of light appeared in his hand, 2 origin souls. One belonged to the Vice Hall Master of the Corpse Sect's Resentment Hall. The other had been offered by that same man in exchange for his life. After a brief moment of contemplation, Wang Lin did not cast them into the hells. Instead, he stored them again. These 2 early-stage Nirvana Scryer origin souls were crucial for restoring his cultivation. He would reserve them for future use. He then rose, gazing into the sky. Forming a seal with his hand, he pointed toward the celestial sealing stamp. It shrank rapidly and was swallowed into his body. "Let's go," Wang Lin said calmly. He stepped forward and left the planet. Lei Ji and the others quickly followed behind. At this time, the entire western region had already fallen under the control of the All-Heaven cultivators. Through the tunnel connecting the 2 systems, waves of them poured in, seizing planet after planet. It was clear they already regarded this region as part of All-Heaven. Yet despite their complete occupation, an invisible shadow loomed over them. Not a single Rank 7 cultivation planet existed in the western region, only Rank 6 planets remained. This anomaly stirred unease. Still nothing changed for a long time. Though doubts lingered under the orders of the Thunder Celestial Temple, they launched a second wave of attack. Their new target, the northern region. Groups of All-Heaven cultivators streaked across the stars, riding on swordlight. As they passed, space itself seemed to tremble, as if on the verge of collapse. Tens of thousands of sword energies surged together, causing the heavens and earth to change color. The flying swords soared like pillars, reaching the heavens, as though they could split the sky and reverse the flow of time. Killing intent filled every cultivator as they advanced relentlessly. Master Flamespark stood among them, flames swirling beneath his feet. A group of cultivators surrounded him. His expression was grim. Since their invasion into the Alliance star system, a sense of crisis had lingered within him. Each attempt at divination revealed only dense blood-colored light and omen that obscured all clarity. They had remained in the western region too long. Retreat was no longer an option. Even knowing that the Alliance had laid a trap, he was forced to press forward. Even if there is a scheme, this old man does not fear it, Master Flamespark muttered coldly. And the Alliance is not the only one with hidden methods. I have prepared counters for many of their possible plans. A glint of killing intent flashed in his eyes. Soon vast numbers of all-heaven cultivators crossed the western region and entered the northern domain. But at that very moment, on one of the conquered planets in the western region, an ancient aura suddenly erupted. It exploded outward with terrifying force. Hundreds of cultivators on that planet panicked and fled. But as they fled, what they saw became the final sight of their lives. The planet trembled violently. It was as if its entire lifespan had been compressed into a single instant. Death aura filled every corner. Then, impossibly, the planet began to shrink. It compressed rapidly, as though an overwhelming force was crushing it inward. In mere moments, it was reduced to only 10% of its original size. Then it collapsed. A devastating wave burst outward, sweeping through space with unstoppable force. The cultivators had no time to escape. Their bodies disintegrated instantly. Even their origin souls were obliterated. The explosion thundered across the heavens. The scent of blood filled the void. All life on that planet was extinguished. Such destruction could not be achieved by ordinary cultivators. Only the most ruthless and merciless could annihilate a world so completely. The shockwave spread, tearing open countless spatial rifts. There were so many cracks that they quickly connected into one vast network. All heaven cultivators within tens of thousands of kilometers were instantly destroyed, body and soul alike. And this was only the beginning. One planet after another began to collapse. Across the entire western region, cultivation planets exploded in succession. The resulting shockwaves merged into a massive storm that engulfed everything. This was no accident. This was the work of the Cultivation Alliance. Since you all-heaven cultivators dared to come, then you will all die in the western region. Without regard for the countless lives within, they executed a terrifying plan to slaughter the all-heaven forces. The collapse intensified. The storm raged across the region, tearing open more and more spatial rifts until they fused together. Thunder roared endlessly. The western region resembled the end of the world. Fragments of shattered planets carrying destructive force shot wildly through space. It was a massacre. Most all-heaven cultivators had no chance to retaliate. They were crushed by the storm before they could react. As the spatial rifts widened, cold winds surged forth, merging with the storm to form a colossal vortex. This vortex covered nearly the entire western region. It severed the path between the northern domain and the tunnel leading back to the all-heaven star system. Just as the storm began to weaken, countless figures appeared. One transfer array after another activated. Cultivators of the Alliance stepped out. Kill. Their roar shook the stars. Master Flamespark's eyes turned blood red. He had anticipated many possibilities, but not this. He had not expected the Alliance to destroy the entire western region. At the same time, sword lights flashed across the northern domain. Alliance cultivators surged forward, attacking the fleeing all-heaven forces. Within the Alliance army, a ripple formed. An old man in black robes stepped forward. His laughter echoed across the heavens. Master Flamespark, it has been a long time. Do you still remember this old man, the Black Fiend Devil Sovereign? Master Flamespark's gaze burned crimson, yet his expression remained calm. So this was your plan, he said coldly. Very good. Then let me show you the spells of my all-heaven cultivators. He raised his hand and pointed upward. A massive crack silently tore open across the sky. It stretched like a river spanning the heavens. From within it, an overwhelming pressure descended. 18 enormous spheres of blood, each over 100 feet wide, slowly fell. The Alliance dared to destroy the western region. Master Flamespark set his voice steady and filled with confidence. How could my all-heaven star system remain idle? Since you have killed my people, I will kill yours in return.